How's it, guys? Another day of snail racing, I think.
Hi, Roger. No, it's quite frustrating because I cannot find out what is causing the euro and the Swiss to be so weak. It's not, I don't understand it.
Yeah, funny you mention that. I'm going to compound that, by the way. I want to help you here. I'm going to compound your point. I saw something, I think it was FXS, one of the stuff they have here in the United States, saying that they were trying to put their head around as well why not only the increase which we had last week from the Eurozone, but Lagarde has continued the hawkish policy in her Q&A after the release. So they said they might say, okay, well, that could be that. But the ongoing weakness is a bit of a mystery, to be honest. Clearly there's a reason, but what that is, I don't know. So yeah, I'm sorry, mate, in the same boat as you. It makes you feel any better, not just you and I, but there's a reasonably respected publication that pays a lot of money to a highly respected analyst to actually form, hopefully, intelligent opinions. If they can't come up with one, well, I can safely say then we shouldn't feel too bad if we don't know. So might not help, but it might feel a little bit more moral support than the lack of knowledge. But yeah, I agree. The EuroCAD again came back and bit us. Where is it now? I think some guy's style might be in it. Came back and bit. That was looking at maybe after that pullback, maybe get a buy. We had that yesterday around there after that pullback, and it's still continuing. I really don't know. It's not exactly, I'm using the CAD here. That's not exactly the strongest currency at the moment in the firmament, and oil's come off a little bit actually. So as a result of it, I have no idea. Long-winded way of saying I'm afraid, but
And I think the pound is in to get more strengthened than anything else because they are foreseeing that the interest rate is going to be hiked. So there's going to be some inflow in investments, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good point. But the major thing is, I talk about emotion in this business, and it's such a often forgot about, never taught in classes, but such a major part of it. Now we'll talk about the GBP, the UK, shall we say. Now, the fact is that the Prime Minister in the UK, I don't know if he's a good politician or not, and quite frankly, I don't really care. What I want to know is it's all about the money. Is he good with the economy? Well, his pedigree in that area is exemplified by the fact he's a top investment, self-made banker. You know what I mean? So he clearly knows what he's talking about. So I think that amongst economists have given a little bit of a push on it. The other aspect is having the highest, in basically anything outside maybe a total collapsed country with a ridiculous 100% inflation. I can't count them. It's got basically the highest inflation going at just over 10%. I mean, we can talk about the trials and tribulations of SA, but we don't have 10%. You know what I mean? Although some guy in the food area might disagree. But anyway, so the point is that is always pointing to higher interest rates to control it. And quite frankly, an economically knowledgeable guy. I don't follow that much in the UK, whether he's liked by the people or not, or all the emotional stuff that goes on. Don't think he's disliked all that one or the other. You know, each opposition will harp on. He was out too late last night. 20 years ago, he smoked marijuana, and these sort of things too. You know, but on the important side, factually, he's highly respected. I have high respect for him. And so as a result, that might be something to do with it. I'm just sort of clutching a little bit here. But but other than that, as I mentioned before, their welfare state has been increasing, like most of the Western world, without much extra money coming in to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? It's like the guy who's just had on a very big salary and wonders why he hasn't got any money. It's because he's got so many bloody outgoings and he's supporting 20 kids and 3 wives and 4 sick mothers or something like that. And then they're basically, their welfare state is now becoming really almost untenable. And so they have to keep it going without losing votes. Remember, politicians are after votes, that's their currency. They have to borrow more, and that's where inflation comes in. You got them want to borrow more, increase inflation. Other economists saying, "There, we've got to start saying we've got to start paying back these loans. We've got to be more fiscally responsible." And that's a bit of a tussle between the economists and the politicians at the moment going on. Hi, Botchwell and that's Mr. Biakwe. Make a mess of it, you laugh a bit. But that's the only I can just sort of taught me to think about, really, as a result of it. But otherwise, as you say, clearly the euro it's not great, but it's not bad. And the Swiss franc shouldn't be weak because it's got everything going for it not to be weak. And it doesn't have the same problems that like Sweden does with this extremely sort of forgiving area, you know.
Yeah, no, really, I don't understand it, because if you listen to the news in the morning and so forth, then with the strikes that happen in the UK, all their demands is approved. So in the end of the day, they are at this point in time just giving and giving and giving to keep the people happy. And this is for me so stupid. So a guy that is prime minister and he agreed to that, I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, he's now the prime minister, and I think, you know, because he's get axed and he's got to get the support from his cabinet. He's got to do that, or otherwise he will be voted out, I suppose. I don't follow that side of the political side as much as the economic side, and more in America, as you know. But yeah, as you say, it's stupid. But remember, you're an uneducated person who's battling in a pretty low-skilled job, and prices are going up. So the answer to that is to pay me more. That's just some economic understanding of the great big wide world out there. So therefore, when you are in the majority, that's the target market, because your vote is exactly the same equality to, let's say, a PhD in economics who's traveled, been around a bit and knows the score. So, you know, they're going to rather go for the target market. And that's horrible, but it's the way it is. That's the biggest weakness of democracy. Is, you know, it's just not everyone's got the knowledge to be equal, but they are still voting equal. And people know that they're mainly guided by their emotional self-want instincts. And they, of course, they apply that sort of area to them to secure their vote. That's why the Democrats like having open borders, because the majority of those guys coming across are desperate freebies who are asking for something for nothing, which most desperate people want, you know, because they haven't got much to give, that's squat to give, but they want everything. And that's where the votes come from. So understandably, they're encouraging, not because they want to help them, because they want to help themselves to their vote. It's horrible, but it's more or less where it's at. You discuss all the subject matter as much as you like. That's the bottom line. It's self-interest at the top, power. And yeah, so I totally agree with you. I mean, it's like ESCOM workers suddenly want to go on strike, not paid enough. Not getting much sympathy, but that's not the point. We're not paid enough. There's no money there. I remember how Train wanted to go on strike not so long ago, and the spokesperson says, "How can you expect to live off that money?" But not making any money. You know what I mean? You know, the answer to that was, don't give me boring old facts now. I want some more money. I mean, let's make it all a 200 rand an hour minimum wage in here. That's the only way these poor people can live off. They can afford it. That's fine, but hang on a minute, it's fiscally ridiculous. But emotionally, that's not taken into account. And that's why it appears obviously ridiculous to somebody with some education, but a lot of people unfortunately don't have it. I'm not talking South Africa alone, even over there. It's just astounding how worldwide, I mean, I've been to America many times, not lately to be fair, and they produce the most PhDs by far in the world, I think more than the rest of the world put together. But the populace is astoundingly simple. You know what I mean? They really are. Because I mean, plus they don't travel, you know, so they have no access to anything but the local propaganda, which is manufactured from the day of birth. It's brainwashing on a sort of Soviet level almost. But yeah, it's yeah, that's one of the problems with democracy. It's a sales pitch to simple and educated people and to manipulate them so they do what the power person wants them to do. And somebody else always picks up the bill, not themselves, not that daft. And yeah, and that's why a lot of the richer guys now get the money to the Cayman Islands and make a plan. You know what I mean? It's the poor middle class that get shafted. The poor have too little to give. The rich have pulled it out and they know better and they know how to manipulate. And they've got the funds and resources to manipulate and get it wherever they want and bribe their way through. The middle class are the ones that get squeezed. And yeah, so that's how it works. That's horrible. It's cynical, not even cynical, it's factual actually. That works. Been around this business, this world, and studied and looked at it, read up at it, and it's more or less that's how it works. Horrible, but true, eh?
Yes, very much so. Thank you for your input.
Do you agree with me? I mean, it's interesting. It's because I don't get many trades out. Guys asked me just before this, so we can get any trades out. I said probably not. And if the CPI's come out, as you know, up as 2 tomorrow, and doubt till that sells down, we get much out in the afternoon. So doubt we get much out. What's tomorrow? Where's it until Thursday? Any trade ideas? So we'll discuss this if you like. Get your opinions on it. Just one word warning though. I've got a pretty damn expensive good inverter, but the load shedding's been off since 10. Obviously, it's some fault somewhere because it's supposed to be 10 till 12 and on again and off again at 6. But it has been off since 10 o'clock. So that's what now 6 hours with electricity here. And clearly I've been on the laptop and my screen and my internet and my other stuff for the last 6 hours. So I'm told it's pretty strong. I've looked at it. The battery sort of seems okay, but I don't know if I'm reading it right. So just bear in mind, if you suddenly get cut off, that is it. You know what I mean? I don't know when it's coming on. It's supposed to go off again at 6, but it hasn't come on again to go off as yet. So I'll probably have to order a takeaway later on because I need because I can't cook. But that's minor. I mean, I can handle that. You've got the resource to go get a meal if I want it, as long as they've got some backup out there in the restaurants nearby. But the point I'm getting to is, yeah, as I say, if I suddenly kick out, sorry guys, right mid-sentence, that thing's kicked out on me. So that's it.
Okay, let me just quickly say WhatsApp my delivery address to you as well. So I will also
you're a star. I like it. Yeah. Yeah, good enough. Yes, Mark. Yeah, it's a quite expensive one. It's not a 70 grand one. It's about 40, 50. It's not why it's a company. So they've got into it. And yeah, they bought it for me or whatever. I think it's about 14K, 15, 14, something like that. I don't know. It's their business, not mine, but it's pretty good. Anyway, it's been off now since 10 o'clock. It's still okay. But as I say, hopefully it's going to go right through to 5:30 or when it'll be complete here. But if it doesn't, bang, 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 I'm off. It's not anything else. That's the problem. And just have to pack up, even if it's mid-sentence. Sorry about that. Nothing I can do till tomorrow because the backup isn't a backup. If the backup goes, then the fail-safe system is no longer fail-safe.
No, it's true. But I mean, in my case, today we were scheduled for 11.5 hours load shedding with 2 hours and 4 hours in between. I mean, this is ridiculous. There's not enough time to charge everything.
Well, this is the problem because then you got to charge the inverter as well. I mean, I was off again this morning from about 2 till 4. So today it's been, what's it now, 8 hours so far. And there's another few hours coming up supposedly at 6 o'clock, but it hasn't come on again to go off again. So it's going to go way over the 10, 11. But this is an unscheduled one. I've checked many times on the app and there's nothing mentioned about it. So obviously it's some unscheduled. It may be like your fiber guys. Maybe guys have gone around and pinched stuff or I don't know, whatever. Yeah, so that's the name of the game. Luckily, I had some decent sized thermos flask, so we had to get cups of tea today. Well, it's starting to get a bit lukewarm lately. But yeah, I can use it only for this, and that's the end of that. So just have to see. Well, grab a takeaway something later on if it's still not on. Problem is in the evening now. I mean, it's dark and it's not pleasant. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's tougher for a lot of other people out there. Let's see what we can do. Okay, just thought I'd warn you about that in case you suddenly get cut off. Okay, we'll look at the trade before we look at the NZD, etc. Tian. At the moment, you're drifting along. So if you get stopped, I'm sorry about that. If you get hit, so great. But let them drift along. people have asked me, what do I think? And I think it's going to drift along. You've got your strategy, you got your stop, your TP, and let it run. Pops up and down. EuroCAD's been giving us a bit of a tough time. It's not quite stopped out. It's popped out, threatened the stop loss and dropped up again. CAD, CHF, quickly go over that one. It's hovering. Look at the 15-minute. It's hovering. Pops down, which is what we want to do. I did that before. Remember taking a 15-minute chart down here, and now it's started to pop back up again. Now it's popping down again. It's hovering. The world is waiting for the CPI tomorrow. NASDAQ probably found the same story. NASDAQ, same story. Popped up on opening. Now it's popped down again and probably pop up again. And I think 13.2 will hold, and it might go back to 13. I don't know, 3. I don't know what to go to. But it's probably a pretty tight 100-pip range. Just drivel along around those sort of areas, and then that's it. So I can't see I'm going to come up with anything. I don't know if you guys can, anything particularly brilliant. But EJ, that's fair enough. Somebody listening. Okay, Mr. Penta. Oh, hello. Yes, yeah. Hi, Tian. You're Anthony's son. Is that right? I see. I've been listening. Good stuff. We'll start with euro dollar. Go to the daily. Go to daily. Right. Is it in the buy zone? Where's the 200? I know it's down there, but always check. Don't know till you check. You do know, but check anyway. And then is it above the red one or not like that? No, it ain't. So that's not going to work for the EJ. If it's in the buy zone, it's above the brown and the blue, or below the brown and the blue, buy or sell it. Go with that momentum flow. If it's between, ignoring the 100-day one, if it's between, then you ignore it completely. So we found it is above, so we want to buy it, but it's below the 10, so we'll leave it on the EJ. Okay. NZDJPY, go back to the daily. By the way, did anyone take that? Did anyone click in and said we missed it, but I said take it anyway on the forward, because if you had done, you should be doing okay. It's coming off nicely. NZDJPY on the daily. It's above. That's fine. We look to buy it. Is it? Yes, it is. This one you can do on the EJ. EJ is completely different. We're not expecting anything today. Only up us to tomorrow. We might slow it down, even the EJ tomorrow, but today we can maybe look at the EJ, and that one is a buy. It doesn't look much action. Just be prepared for that. Look at the hourly chart, popping up and down, pops up, sellers come in, pops down, the buyers come in. So it's pretty tiny range trading, grinding, snail racingly slow, but on that momentum alone, yeah, it's a buy. Yeah, that's correct, yeah. That's a buy if you want to take it, but it might be slow. The world markets have come to grinding halt and waiting. It's one of the quietest periods I've seen in a long time. It's forget the non-farms everyone goes on about. This is a seriously major one coming out tomorrow. And so I think whether you're an EJ, BBC, ITV, SABC strategy, I think it's going to be pretty quiet either way. But if you want to take it on that momentum principle, EJ, yeah, there you are. You know how to do it, hey Tian, 50 bits below, no TP. We put a trading stop or modify it, it goes up. Once it's 30 pips in profit, reduce its stop to 30 pips and ride it up till you're stopped out. Simple as that. Or you say, right, that's enough. Looking a bit worrying now, I'll take the profit. That's your choice. Purely a trading idea. That's fine. The problem with that, actually, Tian, because that shows your thinking. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, a lot of people don't do that single thinking. And they just go in thinking 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, almost like a parent in the army, you know what I mean? What's the no, so I don't care, so why 32 is your told, sir? If you're thinking, and you're thinking, yeah, I'm prepared to do it, let's have a go, I'm a bit bored, I'm not going to put too much on it, let's have a look. Absolutely. Well, I've got to take under cognisance the fact there's a lot of guys out there, and quite honestly, don't know a heck of a lot, you know, so we've got to be a little bit careful. And they read it incorrectly, get the stompy, the wrong end of the stick, they go complaining, comes back to me, and I thought, oh, here we go again. They're completely got the wrong end of the stick. I mean, I don't be nasty. A guy came up now, so there were a bunch of scamsters, he was trading about 150 Rand. Clearly, he went on from 100 to 500 level, so he can go in bigger positions. Clearly, he was margin call. Tried to explain it to him, wouldn't listen. He said he's going to take his business elsewhere. All I could do not to burst out laughing. What sodding business? You know what I mean? But it's more the worry of somebody who's got a vote can be so terrifyingly naive and simple on it. You know what I mean? That's where the major worry is. You know what I'm saying? And it's a worry. The worry. Yeah, so no problem with that. Anyway, the other one was the EUR-GBP. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Mark, if you said that to me, I'd take the piss out of you. I'd laugh at you. I would do. Can't with that, but you'd get it, you know what I mean? It's frightening. EUR-GBP. Right, day, where is it? Is it below? Yes, it is. Looking for a sell. Pretty good at this. I'll be very surprised if it gets it wrong. No pressure. Yeah, you're quite right. Right, let's have a look now. How far is it away? Yeah. How far is it away? Don't look too far away. 6 pips is squat. Yeah, so that's a sell. And what I quite like about it is the EUR, despite what makes any sense, how far it seems to be continuing its weakness. So even though we got a buy on the GBP, not the sent out buy, one in the trading room, it looks like the downside seems to be the name of the game at the moment. So maybe if you're long on it in the normal one, you can shorten this one. You're nicely hedged. This one might work out. Yeah. I'm pinging some fancy green lines on here. I'm pinging it up. Don't know where that's coming from. Mr. B. I think you're printing lines somehow through the ether. I'm pinging them up on here. I don't quite know how you're doing it. Maybe doing some sort of whiteboard on the Zoom. You'll have to ask Mark about that. It's going above my pay level. That. I'm looking at that as well. Well, certainly on the hourly zone. Might better look on the daily. So whoever's painting these pictures, don't. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, looks like the 4 hour. It's a bit of a backup, but we're not really too concerned about that on the EJ. It's just purely a momentum. The momentum seems to be down, so go with it. Yeah, everyone's buying hamburgers instead of you know, top rate cuisine. Doesn't matter, go with it. You know, that sort of thing. If they want junk, go with it, sort of thing. But yeah, so looks like but on that basis, but yeah, from an EJ principle, yeah, that's a short. You know the score now, just spell it out. You're getting angry at this, mate. You're asking some questions. Pretty keen for a guy who's been here only doing a short period. I've been in the trading room, chilling. You're all suddenly sort of catching on. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I know it is, but I don't know how he's doing it. Say how he's doing it. Quite frankly, above my pay grade. Don't know how he's doing it. Probably going onto the Zoom and transferring over here. Would you stop the share and get rid of it? It's actually irritating. Oh, I'm sure it's unintentional. Yeah. Just going to stop the share and get rid of it. Now I'm going to just disappeared. So I'm going to go back again. Might have to stop the share. No, sorry, I might have to reboot. Still might have to reboot. Ah, that's fine. Consider all now. Oh, well, that's fine. It's all disappeared. Probably unintentionally, yeah. Maybe I'm naive here, but I think most people who do wrong or something like that, usually not mean they're wrong. It's unintentional. Didn't mean to. Turn off annotations. Where do I find these annotations? Where to find it? You know, you can tell me, make my life a little bit simpler. Do you got a file or something? No, that's no problem. And it tells you it happens. So I've done daft things. You all do. Okay. If you have to find it, makes me feel a bit better. Yeah, well, you know, these youngsters, yeah, they're pretty good at it. They're brought up with the bloody thing. Remember, I came up with slide rules, my friend. I thought it was a wondrous change of the universe when the first little calculator came up and you could add and subtract by pressing a button. Could not believe it. The wheel's been reinvented. And my first cell phone was about 6 foot tall with a a meter bloody aerial, and you can make a phone call from it sitting in front of you. Wow. Navigator panel, active management. All right, where? That's the navigator panel. Do I double click it or something? No, that doesn't do any good. That's all I've made a right mess of that. That didn't help, did it? Ah, God's sake, now what have I done? Ah, bloody hell. How do I minimize that now? That's what I hate playing these things and I'm getting my way out of it. That's the problem. I'll try and get Clinton to take over and do it. Not exactly, John. So how to get out of this now? How to get rid of this thing now? I just close it. Can I close it? I can't even use the bloody thing. How do I close it? Wish I had played around. I have no idea. On the left, a little X. Where's the little X? I can't see it. I'm looking for an X, can't find it. I know what I might do is this. Well, that didn't help. That made it even worse.
Roger. If you want to close that window, there's a little X next to Quick Trade MT5.
No,
That'll get rid of the navigator for you.
where's no X? Can't see it.
No, on the left, where it says yeah, there. Now more to the left. Where your mouse is to the left. More to the left.
No, shift over the other one. Might give me I can see a bit better. Hang on a second.
Because those instructions were actually for Zoom, not for MT5.
Ah,
It's,
got it now.
as the host.
Yeah, okay, I've got it now. Switch screens. I couldn't because the other one is a TV actually. Just let me switch it back again. That's your TV, and it's not formatted 100%. I've tried it, and I might miss it. They got that away. Just a second. Let's get this all back again. Just give me a second. Be patient, guys, while I do it at this speed. Where are we now? It's view, navigator. Good. Let's come back in. How do I minimize it?
Let me see if I can replicate it quickly. I drag and I drop there. Then I drag and I drop back.
Yeah.
Good question.
When an IT guy doesn't know, it makes me feel a bit better. Now I've
No,
got
so we just blame poorly coded software. That's all.
okay, so I have no choice about it. What I'm going to do then, swap screens again. Sort of trigger them up on this. Swap screens again. Go to view. Try this navigator again. Maybe it'll come up nicely. No, it hasn't. Thought that might work. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look then. So how can I swap this around? Where is it now? I can't seem to do that. Well, okay, well, I can't. So that's the end of that then, isn't it? Can I even scroll down the bloody thing?
Yeah. I somehow got it back. Don't ask me how. By just dragging it all over the place.
Somehow got it back.
Yeah.
Right, click on it.
No, I did it by they would actually I clicked on the name navigator and I just dragged it around and eventually it fell back into place.
Ah, that might do it.
Yeah.
That might do it. Okay. Okay.
You'd be amazed how much of IT is experimenting like that, you know?
Yeah, myself. And I've done that a few times, and then when I've solved it, so how do you do that? I forgot how I did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes we don't ask why, we're just happy that it worked and we say, we fixed it. Cheers, here's the bill.
Yeah, cheers, and here's the bill. I like it. Okay, set, delete, modify, test, buy from outlet, create method, add to favorites, set hotkey. Can't do anything about it. So I get Maestro Clinton. He's on top of this thing. He'll help me out. Okay, I'm just going to put up with that in the meantime. Okay, so hang on, better idea. Move this down. That's a better idea. There we are. That's the way to go. Okay, I'm going to sort out. Not the end of the world. Have to do it that. That's why I hate fiddling with these things, because I press the wrong button. I don't have to dig myself out of it. Now you get an IT guy who knows the platform inside out, probably designed it. He's not worried about pressing a wrong button because he knows how to get himself out of it. Anyway, moving along. So, well, if you're a GBP, then I don't know if you guys took it and all that chit chat there. So that's an EJ one if you want it. I'll write that down just so the guys understand that. Yeah, I knew about the X all right, guys. It's just I couldn't find it. It really was because I'm not properly formatting the big screen. Switch it over to my normal laptop and it clearly was in your face. That was the reason. That's why I tried to minimize earlier on, but I minimized the wrong one. Okay. Anyway, so there it is. I can actually work it out, and I can certainly respond if someone sort of like points it out in ABC language. But some of these guys, and they note back in the front, so they tend to sort of go a little bit quick. So it's like I do at times, say, on the trading. So learn from that. Hey. Afternoon, Dilly. Good day to you. Okay, so yeah, let's just go back. I just want to check CABCH. Is it still doing nothing at all? Doing slightly downward stroll at the moment on the hourly. Probably hold there and pop back up again. So don't get too excited. Live it out if you like. It's probably just rambling around in that area. Gold seems to be holding at 2020 and popping up, but didn't say go for it. It might pop back down again. Drifting around. Nasdaq, less of the Nas, same story. Drifting around, popping up. And remember, it's 30 odd pip range is minute for the NAS, especially after Americans opened. Just remember that. So yeah, we can chat about stuff, but thank you for joining me, guys. But as I say, there's a couple of new names in there, so I'll do my normal in the meantime, because they might not have that. Is where are we now? This is out of the way. Is I'm going to, just a second, post the just a second, post the DXY for you. That's important. So I think a couple of new names out there might not know about it, so I'll just take 2 seconds to an economic calendar. I think I'll leave the yields when they're brand new. A lot of guys will understand that, so I'll just put these two on. Dollar index is fairly self-explanatory, and the economic calendar same. So don't forget as well, now we've got a few moments. Templates, save your template if you haven't done that already. That's the point. That's the point when I figure that. Templates. No, it hasn't worked. What a pity. Thought that might have saved it. Okay, I brought it back to square one again. Okay, anyway, yeah, so don't forget, right click, go to templates, save your template, put your name in there. So if you do have a problem, you right click, go to templates, and you're back in business. Okay. If you want any information about any of the instruments in your watch list, what you do is you left click to highlight it, then you right click, and then you left click, and there's the information at hand. Obviously, you've got to know what information is giving you. If you don't know, ask and I'll explain. If you already do know, well, don't bother, because why you want me to bore you, tell you what you already know. That's important. All have the position size calculator and all the stuff I bring up every time. The basics, quite simple. Go to live chat, get the position size calculator, and then you don't get your volumes incorrect. You know what you're in for when you go into the trade. Bearing in mind, shares open at +3, and it's a completely different calculator for the shares, like Apple or Google or whatever, or Microsoft. These are shares, and you need the Excel, Excel calculator, which you get from when you log into your learning management system, the Stock Market College. Anything you're not sure about Stock Market College, anything like that, don't come to me. I'm with Quick Trade. Go to Stock Market College. How do you do that? Go to the portal, and there the account manager details are there. I'm assuming you've already been in touch with your account manager before you came on board, so you probably have them saved anyway. But if you don't, for whatever reason, just go to the portal and your account manager will assist you in that. They can't advise you on trading because they're not qualified to do that, but they can advise you and help you set up your whatever. You know, they can do all that sort of thing and assist you. And they're there to help you with Stock Market College. And as well, you've got the live chat, which you can get to on the websites. There's websites on the portal. And there's a Stock Market College academic area for you. Any problem with withdrawal deposits, it's not reflecting yet. Why hasn't it? You put it in, there's no money not reflecting. Just go to the live chat, go to deposits, and they'll check it out and make sure it reflects for you. Any technical areas, go to the technical support. I'm solely for the trading aspect. So you can come to me if you like, but at the same time, if it's those areas, I will obviously direct you to those areas or transfer you, pass you in that direction. I hope you can understand that. Oh, I've got a crown, got quite a big position in on selling the rand. I think it's selling the rand. No, it's not actually. He's selling the dollar. No, selling. That's right. He's selling. He's weakening the rand. That's right. Hang on. Selling. He's buying the rand. We're right. We're right. Anyway, I hope it comes right because I think he's selling the rand, not the dollar. Beg your pardon. Okay. Mention everything else. Oh yes, my number. We've all got it, but I think a couple of you guys don't. Roger, it doesn't take 2 seconds. Put it in there. Support. Please WhatsApp. Don't call me. If I need to speak to for a longer period of time, I will call you on the recorded line we have on the computer. It's a separate number, the one I've just posted there. And please don't call me if you've got, to be rude here, Squat Tom and on a demo. I'm not here to people advising the demo. That's purely there to learn how to operate. And what I mean, Squat Tom, well, use your common sense. You're trying to trade with $100. Good luck, mate. But if you've got some money in your account, 500, 600 upwards, preferably upwards, I can assist you. If you've got $2.5 grand or $150 upwards, then you've got some money to trade with. You've got a balance then you can diversify, you can do stuff. Still pretty small in the scheme of things, but you can work with it. And then I can upload you to my WhatsApp group where you'll get updates, information, and other benefits like that. So there you are, you've got the direct number. Okay. Hope all clear. As I mentioned, if you're new here, it's going to be a quiet session. If you want any clarification, any questions, we'll discuss stuff and have some fun if you like. But unless somebody finds an EJ1, that we're not going to get normal trades. If you want to know about the EJ1, I'll certainly explain it, as long as you can got enough to take part of it. Don't forget the CPI is a straddle trade coming up, which I'm doing tomorrow at 2 o'clock for the recent uppers too. If you know how to place it, you can come a little bit later. If you don't know, be on time, because if you come in late, you won't be enough time for me to explain it before the data release. And we can take advantage of that data release. Okay. But again, as long as you've got money in your account, there's a certain amount of seats can come out there. We don't want you taking somebody else's seat when you don't have any money in your account or on a demo or whatever. It's unfair on them. So if you want to take advantage of that, make sure you've got a properly funded account, and you yeah, we can take it from there. If you're in here already and don't understand it, quiet, I'll explain it in ball, mark, and finely to pieces, and probably tell you be catching on well. But the new guys, if they want me to explain it, I'll do it. So you're prepared. So if you do come a little bit late, you're not worried. You understand the mechanics of how it works. That's the point behind it. Okay. The idea behind the trading was trying to get us to understand, to overcome the basics, concentrate on market movements. Okay. Proper trading principles, they say. And of course, trading, if you see a share or something you like to do, we'll look at it and we'll form an opinion. I might say it's a buy, Carol might say it's a sell, George might say it's a buy, and Mary might say it's a sell. This is what it's about. And then we put these ideas and hopefully back it up with some reasons why we believe that, and then you can take your choice. With this, you know, with this Eskom thing going on, the Transnet problems going on, you know, and probably 1 or 2 others going on as well. You know, expect the rand to look a little bit on the weak side. Let's look at the dollar first. Yeah, the dollar's gone up a little bit, but not much. It's 101.60 odd. So it's not much a dollar. I think it's just, again, this incredible worry about Eskom now going into winter when they're getting higher levels of load shedding, clearly. And the aspect that came out that for, you know, because they're beginning, for political reasons, they lowered the margin between total blackout and safety. I think it's 15% down about 6%, which is putting it heebie-jeebies a lot of people. Because if we get a total blackout, that rand will go to about 18, 19 upwards and we get anarchy. And basically what we're saying, I hate to say it, guys, I know you already, internationally, they don't have a lot of faith in the way South Africa is being run. As simple as that. Pretty obvious, but I'm afraid we just got to face up if it's not. Well, of course, exactly. Obviously. There's a place in the Eastern Cape near Port Alfred was some sort of holiday resort there and some sort of tribal trust land. They passed a bill through, it's got to go back to the rightful people. Fair enough. So what happened? They looted it. They stripped it completely. Now just nothing there. You see what I mean? It's yeah, just you heard that, yeah. Completely, utterly stripped it. If it moved, it was looted. You know what I mean? So I mean, you're an international person who wants to help. Of course you do. Everyone does. And you want to invest, and you want to help, and you don't like to see the suffering going on. But you know what I mean? Is it going to throw good money after bad? I mean, electricity price gone up as well. It's gone up this month. I can see that because obviously I can see the paper money. And yeah, so now we're paying because somebody else stole it. Yeah, it's just it'd be a Monty Python kind of Faulty Towers farce if it wasn't so bloody tragic. And the one area where we had the infrastructure in the country that could have actually shown the way, they're completely actually blown it. Absolutely, totally blown it. Tragic, yeah. Yeah, so I'm guessing that, but it could be anything really. It's pretty short term. I'm on an hour chart. But I think again, because maybe it's just not me having longer hours of that electricity, maybe it's a bigger area. And I'm talking about me, my irritation to that. That's mine. That's got nothing to do with it. It's the overall picture, the overall faith, the lack of credibility. Well, that's exactly it. That's quite a reason. Reason might be great. I mean, people go out themselves, trickle down the area, but now that's been taken away as well. Now, completely, utterly looted. Horrific. I think it's one of the biggest there. I haven't been down that world for a long time, but one of the biggest there. That is, you know, heartbreaking. Anyway, okay. Anyone discuss anything on trading? Anyone wants to miss something? You all know what the lines are on the chart, what they represent, why we have them. Anything on that? You got to go, Tian. Great to have you. I hope you come more often. Obviously, if you can make it, and that applies to everyone, of course. You can make it, great. If you can't, I understand that. Might be load shedding problems or other pressing matters, or your light's about to go off, so you better get your meal cooked quickly. So yeah. But it is going to be quiet, so it's not going to be a major tragedy if you do leave early. Might even close up a bit early, there's not much happening. But we can spend it to try to understand a bit more. I might learn from you, you might learn from me, we might add to it. So I'll make some use of the time we're on here. One deal, we've said it many times, you're going to hold that for a long time. Unless something radical changed, it's going to be a long term, that one. That's why I try to mention, don't go into it unless you've got enough money to tie up for a long period of time. But it looks like it's giving you a hassle and you're not too much down, might as well take the bloody thing if you need the capital. I mean, look at that. See what I mean? Drifting. I don't see anything change at the moment, but it might do. That's what I have knowledge, not really just hovering. So if you're not down too much, take it. If you're up a couple of bucks, you cover your costs, take it. You're probably down a couple of bucks. I don't know what price you got in there. But if you can't trade because it's stuck in there, well, be honest, you shouldn't be in it because, as I said, that you don't go into it if your money's going to get tied up. But if you can afford to leave it running, let it run, and maybe in a couple of months' time it might pay back. It's like almost like buying equity. You buy it and sit with it and hope it comes right in the next couple of years. We're used to derivatives, which obviously is much faster. I take you all understand when I'm saying derivatives. I mentioned that before this morning. We're in leveraged products, which is basically high risk, high return, hopefully high return, but certainly high risk. That's why you need to have the right safeties in place, like driving a fast car. Find a habit and make sure you have the right stuff in place. And as you said, Mondini, very important, work on percentages, not an amount. 100 rand to one person might be a lot of money, another person it's not. So you work on percentages. If you've got 100 million or 1 rand, pushing 100 rand, 5% is still 5%, and that's what you work on. So I totally agree and I encourage that. People look at percentages, so don't say, oh, they made 100 rand, but if you've got 1,000 rand, you did it in a week, that's 10% a week, that you did bloody well. Or conversely, not so well if the opposite happened. So yeah, any questions? Loan, interesting name, Loan, fairly new here. Any questions you'd like to ask, just to get stuff set up, the basics, if you like some clarification on it? Just so you know what's going on, basically, if you're new, trained for a while, obviously, fair enough. Well, you all good? Are you all good with that? Don't feel left out? Try and bring everybody into it so they can all learn. Well done, Mondini. You see, you're working it out. That's good stuff. See, you're learning good stuff. Keep yourself free space, free margin, so you're not getting it margin called, and enough margin, preferably, in case a nice trade comes along, looks a good one, you're not going to miss out on it simply because your money's tied up elsewhere. Yeah, we did, Pete. Well, tell you what decision, I'll repeat it again. The decision to sell it is correct. Look at on the 1 hour, it's come off a bit. It was about 4 or 5 pips away. It's come off, 2 or 3 pips, but it's looking slow. What's this thing here? Oh, yeah. Sorry, too quick. Okay, yeah, it's just slow. Look at the daily, it's slow. And I'm expecting a lot of it's going to be slow anyway. So you enter it, it's correct on the EJ, but don't expect it to do a Ferrari, Lamborghini kind of speed job. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what you need to do, man. Do absolutely. Tell that horror story. Sorry, to answer your question, Pete, before I go on the next one. Yeah, if you like it, great, but just have to be patient with it. Because it seems to be a bit slow. The whole market's come to a grinding snail pace. We'll wait for tomorrow, basically. Yeah, I didn't tell that horror story of a guy about 3 years ago. Had about 300 grand in his account, but he was what he was doing. He was buying and selling. Let's say he's buying and selling Euro GBP, for example. Buying and selling it. When the buy went to profit, he'd close it, and then let the sell run. The sell, and then another one, let's say Euro JPY, the sell went to profit. For instance, he'd bank that, let the buy run. So then he found he got a nice little balance there, around about the 300 grand, and it's going up nicely because he's banking profits. But the problem is he hadn't looked at his debit side, and he's sitting with all those losses. So if you took the loss on the debit side, his own position, compared to his balance, it was only about 15, 18,000 rand, something maybe a little bit less than that. But he's so busy concentrating, oh, good, I've got 300 plus thousand in there, and now I'm building it up. Forgetting he's got open position of losses. Then he decided he's going to close a couple of them, bigger ones. And what happened then? He didn't have enough hedge in it to balance the collateral of the margin, and then his immediate margin call. He screamed in the office. Soon the office over 8 o'clock, screamed in. Luckily, I was there as well, just arrived at the same time. Walked straight by me and headed through to the MD's office. I think he arrived there just about right. I don't know. I've asked where he was. He's just about arriving now. And said that the company took 300 grand off it. I said, no, they didn't. You got margin call because your actual bounce about 15 or 14. I can't remember. It's very small. You just look at your bounce, you look at your debit. So that's how it works. And of course, he was in such an emotional state, he didn't see it that way. You understandably very upset. And when someone's upset like that, it's very difficult to rationalize it. We're all like that, fair enough. Just remember, look at your balance sheet. You might say, you know, you got 100 grand income, but if you've got 120 grand going out, you're not a rich man, you know what I mean? But anyway, if you took the Euro GBP, it started to come off a little bit. So then if you took it in the NP, not as a sell, on the EJ it's a sell. If you go to the daily, it's below there and below there. And on the hourly, it's below there. So it can't be a buy, it's got to be a sell. But the EURG, I see what you mean, you're not talking about the EJ, you're talking about the normal one. They're playing silly buggers with us at the moment. I'm not sure. Normally I'd say, yes, we got one out, I think it was what's today, a couple of days ago, when it seemed to be holding there, the 200 for a bounce. And I thought there might be an idea. I quite like the euro, did like it. And then what happened? The thing came down and then it broke through here and now it's gone down further. So I'll just leave the money. I won't buy or sell it unless you use the EJ momentum principle, then do okay. But from a normal trade, I'll leave that euro alone for a moment. It's like discussed earlier on, if you join a bit later, finding myself. The euro is playing an area which is not being fully understood by either of us. I'm quite found backing up with a few analysts out there, which I tend to keep an eye on, and they're scratching their heads a little bit on that subject as well. So, Pete, I would suggest you stick with the thing and say Zang's not going in. Yeah, probably better. But if you want to do the EJAM, problem with that. Make sure your quantities are correct, etc., and play around with that. It's purely momentum. The normal strategy, taking everything else into account, I think rather just steer clear, which is going to be seen to be the name of the game at the moment. I still haven't got the electricity, so it's clearly the situation. We've got a situation, Winston. I'm not worried about me. I'm irritated from my point of view, but I'm sort of the bigger picture. This could be serious. That's what's worrying me. I'm worried about this. They say it's not going to happen at total close to the grid, total blackout, but anything's possible with these guys. Anything's possible. You know what I mean? I believe so, yeah. Released afterwards, not to give. They said that as well, yeah. Yeah, Botswana, and they were laughing at us. It was a total, I'm not sure, but apparently, if that came anywhere near the Botswana one, we would have been a serious problem. I didn't read the full article, but some to that extent. But I believe so, but I think they're released afterwards, not to create total panic. But that's something else, to be fair, in news. You've got to be super careful about getting too honest, because then you create panic and then it's out of control. Like the looting 50 billion rand spree when they put Zuma in jail for a week before he was taken out again. Yeah. Quite funny that. Did you see that guy pinched this bloody great enormous TV and couldn't fit into his car? He kept trying to press it, push it against the door, the open area there, see if it fit. But if it doesn't fit, surely it doesn't. He kept it till he was caught, the silly bugger. Get some mirth even in that. Did you go for anybody, by the way? Because it's coming off quite well, a lot, but a little bit. So in an hour, remember, it looks like a lot in an hour. It's not a daily. Of course it is. It's totally everything's wrong about it. I'd say if you can afford solar heating, you can afford the gap, you can afford this. That's a different ballgame. It does. You'll inconvenience them, but that's all you're doing. It's the defenseless ones, yeah. Of course it does. It just makes them poorer, yeah. It's all just say the poor give you the vote to make lip service, but really gives a straw about it. Clearly not one's in power anyway. Or they say opposite. See, they put on hypocrisy on top of everything else. And it discourages, like they did in Greece, people go into the private sector because you can go into public, get well paid, get looked after, and you're not going to get sacked, and you're not have to earn any money. You get other people to earn the money to give it to you. And you being an entrepreneur, you know, with your own business, etc., you stop and must thinking why. Yeah, I mean, I don't even thought or not. You must have considered maybe shifting. I know you probably have very patriotic South Africans, the last resort, but it must have crossed your mind a couple of times. Even in Cape Town, where they live in a different country a lot of the time, yeah, in their own mind.
Yeah, but apparently in Bophuthatswana, Mafeking, there was also a total, I think they were out of electricity for more than 17 hours.
Okay, then we've got a
That
problem.
was Sunday.
Is it? I didn't know about that. We've got a problem. Because if you have 7 hours, I don't know how long this inverter's going to hold on. And then it's got to recharge. So that could be an issue. A third, that's a hell of a lot. Wow. Because remember, the turnover's down a third. You've got your expenses. So that's a yeah. I mean, like a guy says, on 100 grand a month, all of the expenses and debit orders coming off, he can't go back to 75 or 70 grand a month, because then he wouldn't be able to pay his bills. I'm surprised yet. It needs a trigger. Most things it needs a trigger. I just say people will probably know anyway, like sheep. They need a trigger, a border collie to get them going. And it needs a trigger, like all these things. Like, oh, you know, the Bastille, the raid in the Bastille. There was only 7 people in that when they did the storm of the Bastille, which triggered off the French Revolution. But that's the word. It's a small thing, and suddenly becomes a trigger, and it snowballs. It needs a trigger. Once a trigger comes in, kabang. You don't know where that trigger comes from, anything. Just a small thing that's just too much. That's one time too much. I've had it. Of course they are. And the problem is, I mean, it costs Pick n Pay R500 million, 500 million rand a year on extra diesel costs generates that. And somehow that's got to get somewhere. So they're going to put it into the prices, clearly. Now, again, these guys, you know, now they afford it the price they are, never mind the way it's going up. The thing is, they get away with it. They tell you you're wrong, you go to jail to do the wrong thing. These guys do far bigger crimes and they walk. Well, you might be the first to get affected by it, so I wouldn't be too keen on that either. You'd be the first. You'd be like the aristocracy. You'll be the first to go to the guillotine, my friend. I wouldn't be too keen on that. You need an enemy, you know. You need someone, an enemy, someone to blame. Anyone but yourself, of course. Never your fault. Blame, and the aristos are the ones to blame. Quite right in a lot of ways, to be fair. But yeah, just be careful of that. Well, exactly. Yeah. The high tea came 10 minutes late. Now I've got myself a serious traumatic issue. Yeah. Well, they're a different world. They haven't a clue what's going on here. They brought a lot on these news programs, but they haven't got a fucking clue. Yeah, yeah. Exactly. I've driven cool Canterbury cars before, but that's good enough for me. Yeah. Actually, my ex, going back career, gone back to the UK now, and she's a little bit like that. It's like the States, eh? It's endless discussions on whether you should be called he or she, whereas the world is literally falling around you. You know what I mean? That's the example of Nero fiddling while Rome burnt, if you remember that story. Yeah, Oceans of Press taking about gender pronouns. It's actually staggering, really. You might as well. There's not much happening here. I might close it off in a minute or two. Be just having a nice bit of a chit chat, moan, groan, or whatever it happens to be. We all know it anyway. There's not much happened today. Tomorrow morning it's going to be pretty quiet as well. I can't guarantee it, nothing guaranteed, but I'll be very surprised if it isn't. The world is waiting for 2:30 tomorrow afternoon, and then we get some action, and then pity. Well, Mark's, that's the way it is. The way it is. Can't help that. Okay, fair enough. Pity. But if you can make it, that'd be great. Hopefully get some action on that, some positive action on that, and get a direction one way or the other. We'll get back to trading signals coming out and get back to doing what we're supposed to be doing. Not talking about the woes of the world, but trading. Okay, Peter, get that. It's not much happening. Anybody else much questions? Maybe we'll wrap this up slowly and go and get a takeaway somebody we can feel myself or whatever. And feel sorry for South Africa and whatever. But unless there's some stuff you really want to discuss, Jose, Obed, Tapelo, anybody there? Anything particularly want to ask? There's hardly anybody left anyway. Most have left. There's only half a dozen left anyway. Gold, I haven't looked last 10 minutes or so, but it's hovering 20-25 my last I looked. Yeah, same story, I'll give it. Yeah, just hovering. Yeah. Pop, this 50-minute, pop down, pop up. That's tiny range there. Leave the thing alone, be patient, have a little chit chat tomorrow morning, and then and then the action should start, and then we might get some more action tomorrow afternoon. But I'm hoping it's going to come to the party nice at CPI, put a smile back in their face. Electricity, we did well. That's the sort of thing. Okay. Yeah, I'd sit tight there, Mark. Hard times, you've got to be disciplined, say it's not much happening. Keep your money dry, ready to pounce. Okay, guys, it is quiet. Sorry about that. One of those things, but it's outside of control. We'll pounce when we're back in control. Thanks for joining and thanks for your patience. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Okay, guys, thank you all. Wandili as well as always. Tuelo, Tapelo, Obed, Mark and Brian. Okay, good old Brian. Yep, good stuff. Okay, we'll close it off and ciao, ciao, as they say. Cheers.